Kay Woodcock took the stand testifying as a witness for the third time in her life. This time, her mission was to get justice for her brother, Charles, already accomplishing that for her grandson, JJ Vallow, in 2023 and 2024. But this moment she's been waiting for a long time, facing off with her nemesis, Lori Vallow Daybell, the pro se defendant accused of plotting Charles's death. Kay takes us inside her testimony. I'm Justin Lum, and we are on the record. What a week of trial it has been in the Lori Vallow Daybell case, and I am joined by some special guests right now. I've been waiting to talk to this family. We are speaking with Kay Woodcock, Charles Vallow's sister, Gerry Vallow, Charles Vallow's brother, and Susan Vallow, Charles Vallow's other sister. You guys have been through such a journey. First off, I want to start off with Kay. How are you feeling coming off yesterday's testimony? Everybody's eyes were glued to the screen when you were taking the stand.
I am probably the most depleted I've ever been in my life. I told you, I'm like, I don't want to interview today. I'm just exhausted. It's exhausting being in that courtroom every day, and it was just like it in Idaho. At the end of the day, you're just drained, and so it's the same thing here. And but yesterday, after testifying, that was it. It's such an emotional thing, and it just wiped you out. But I mean, hey, I'm here. I can only go up from here, so I'm good.
Yeah, you're done as far as trial number 3.
Yes.
You have. I mean, isn't that? I was saying this yesterday to our viewers watching. Imagine being a key witness and testifying in 3 murder trials. And I know that's not something that anybody wishes for, but that is the hand that you were dealt.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, do you ever think about that? Like how you are a key witness in these cases?
Not really. I just know what I know. I mean, it's not that I know anything more or less than the next person, but
well, in some ways you do.
Everybody together, collectively, it's one big story, and it's one big mess that Lori and Chad made to everybody's lives that have been affected by this.
Gerry, how proud were you of your sister yesterday, seeing her up there?
My sister rocks. She is a badass, and I was very proud of her. She said what she said, and it almost fell out of my chair. But it was a really great testimony.
Because this is about justice for your brother.
It is.
It's been a long wait to even get to this point.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're here, and let's rock and roll.
Susan, how about you?
I was so proud of her. When she came back at Lori, and Lori just didn't really know what to do. But yeah, she rocked. She really did.
That's awesome to hear. Now, what you're talking about right there is what leads me to this, how you basically clap back at Lori Vallow Daybell, who's representing herself pro se, and we're all waiting to see the kind of questioning she had for you in cross-examination after this very, very thorough testimony and direct exam by prosecutor Trina Kay, but she only had 3 questions. Let's listen to that exchange right now.
Mr. Cox, where were you on July 11th, 2019?
At home in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Were you aware at all of the relationship between Charles and Tylee?
It was, let's say, it was a bit contemptuous. It seemed like there was always a lot of drama going on, and so that's all I knew. He didn't say too much about it, and I didn't pry.
But you knew that there was some kind of contention going on with those two for
I can't
a while.
hear you.
I'm sorry. You did know that there was some kind of contention going on with those two for a while.
Yes.
Okay. And you weren't really aware of the events that happened that morning, were you?
The morning of
July
his murder?
Of July 11th?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
Because you didn't tell me.
Ms. Woodcock, did you see or hear or personally witness me conspire with Alex Cox to kill my husband, Charles Vallow?
No, but I saw a ton of evidence that did.
Thank you. No further questions.
Wow. So what we just saw there, that last bit of the exchange, as Lori Vallow Daybell says, thank you, no further questions. But she had asked you if you personally saw her conspire with Alex Cox to kill your brother, Charles Vallow. And you just said, no, but I've seen the evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, was that something that just came to mind, or did you foresee that happening because she had asked some witnesses that question at the end of Cross?
That just popped out of my mouth. I didn't have no forethought. I just said it. And after that, I was talking to Trina, and I said, she could have objected to a lot of that. I don't know exactly what, but, and she said, oh yeah, but she's pro se, so she doesn't know what she's doing.
Because after you said no, you did elaborate there.
Yes.
You threw some back. It's similar to what Nancy Jo Hancock did.
Yes.
Saying don't flatter yourself.
Right.
I mean, but that she left it there. I mean, that was another contentious cross-examination. But what was it like for you seeing Lori Vallow Daybell? Really, you've seen her in court, but this is you face to face just like this, and she's asking you the questions. This is something you've been waiting for.
This is the first time I have spoken with her one-on-one since March, in person, March 28th of 2019. That's it. That's how long it's been. So 6 years, and I've waited and waited for this. And when I found out she was representing herself, I was over the moon with gratitude that I would be able to speak to her. And I mean, I was nervous, but it's hoping I wouldn't open up the door to Idaho, or, you know, that's something we had to be very careful about. But I just, listening to the last few days' testimony, I feel like those jurors have to feel that there's something more that went on here.
Yeah, I think that is happening.
Not necessarily here geographically, but in this whole story.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said the last time I saw JJ was in, May 18th of 2019. And I bet, I don't know. I think I'm putting myself in their place. I would be wondering, well, wait a minute, where's JJ now?
I think the jury's definitely wondering, right? Where is Alex Cox? Where is Tylee Ryan? Where is J.J. Vallow? Where are the people that were at the home July 11, 2019? And I've heard her use these names sort of in present tense. And then I've heard witnesses, and maybe this was you, using their names in a past tense.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're picking up on or how much they know. But I think at some point, as more evidence comes out in this trial, they're going to wonder why maybe they're not in the courtroom,
right,
why they're not called as witnesses, and then how much more does the door open? Because it almost really opened the other day when Lori wanted to keep on cross-examining Nancy Jo Hancock, and we went to lunch.
I truly feel that if they wouldn't have broke for lunch right there, she would have opened it, because she had to know that were talking about her the whole evening long. That's Lori's ego. That's Lori's narcissism. And that was so close. So I was, man, if I wish the judge would have broke for lunch then. Just 5 more minutes and she would have sunk herself.
And maybe she learned from that. I don't know if her counsel told her, to not keep that witness on cross too long, because we saw her not even cross-examine her old friend Christina Atwood.
Yeah.
There's some witnesses that she's just decided not to cross at all. When we get into the really technical stuff with police, there's some moments throughout court where the jurors are really trying to pay attention because they're being taken through this whole crime scene. I want to ask you two, what's that like, being in trial and you're seeing photos of your brother, you're seeing body camera footage, and it does bring up trauma, I bet, as you're going back to the crime scene.
It wasn't a pretty sight to see, it really wasn't, but it was just hard to see. It really was, for me, Susan, and Kay, and everybody else.
Yeah.
But I'd seen them before, but not in such graphic detail.
Yeah.
And it was upsetting to me to see him sitting there laid on the floor dead, and it wasn't nice. I mean, he shot him in the chest, and he fell down, and he gets shot again.
That's what the evidence is showing. The prosecution keeps hammering that home of how the projectile went through the baseboard and how it's very clear that Charles was flat on his back for the second shot. And then we even talk about the baseball bat and how there's no real conclusive evidence to prints that match Charles. And the whole narrative by Lori is that there was this huge fight. And I wonder about July 12th and on 2019, as you guys are learning about this fight, how did you wrap your minds around that the narrative was that this was self-defense at the time?
I thought it was BS because it was a setup, and he was...
It was an ambush.
Ambushed and executed. And that was the plan, and I think that's what they did.
Larry truly believes, and as time has passed, I agree with them that we think Lori shot him when he was down. Alex said, "Here, you need to take a shot and think about it."
Wow.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just our speculation.
The only person still alive is her.
Yeah.
Out of that whole scene.
Yep.
And at some point, like we were just talking about the jury, when do they wonder about everyone else involved? They don't necessarily know that Alex died in December 2019.
Right.
Just the trail of death. I mean, it's overwhelming when we get into Idaho. And I told people this yesterday. I said I never see Kay get too emotional. It's been rare and occasional throughout this saga where you have cried.
Yeah.
And yesterday, when you went back to July 12th and finding out from Cole, Charles's son, that Charles was dead, and there was no information, and then Larry goes on Google. Larry is Kay's husband, and finding out the actual details. That's when you broke down. What is it about that moment?
It was just trying to wrap my head around it. And I mean, I'm the one that can handle an emergency situation. I don't react. I just keep my head collected and, okay, what do I have to do? I have to take care of business first. And that's what I was trying to do. That's what I did do. I got to call my siblings, and so that's what I did. I started with the oldest and worked my way down, and called everybody. And it was a horrible time. I mean, it's whoever wants to tell anybody that, hey, I got some bad news for you. Charles is dead. That's all we know. And everybody's asking me questions, and there's no answers.
You don't have the information.
I don't have any information. Yeah. But I think after that, Larry and I called the Chandler detectives, but we didn't really learn that much. But I did, say, hey, we're going to be there at noon tomorrow, and who do we need to speak to? We need to talk. And anyway, it went from there.
You said that in examination to her. You said, you didn't tell me anything. You wouldn't tell me anything.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, she asked you, do you know about the morning of? And
it
wasn't really a complete question. But.
It was a stupid question on her part. Like, what am I supposed to know? I was at home living life.
Mm-hmm. And you literally told the court that you didn't know anything because everything you found out was on July 12th,
Right.
and you still didn't know a lot.
Right.
As far as the family dynamic between the siblings here, was Charles someone that you guys never really had to worry about? He's just doing his thing, busy guy, just living life.
Yeah.
Like what? I've talked to Kay about Charles and his personality, but for you both, like what was he like?
You want to go first? Or
Susan?
No, you go first.
well, he was my big brother, my protector, taught me. When we were kids, it was just growing up. It was, we hung out a lot. We had a lot of the same friends. We'd go camping, fishing down the bayou and the river, and go play baseball. We'd always have plastic ball games in our backyard, and then we'd go to Little League or minor league and play ball, and it was always about baseball with us. But he was he was a protector and a fun guy to be around with. Lots of friends.
Yeah, he has many childhood friends, and to this day, and yeah, a lot of them have reached out to us and reach out to me, and offer condolences, and it's
They've watched this unfold.
oh yeah, it's amazing just some of the people that we've heard from, that like, oh, I don't remember you, or oh yeah, I do remember you. Hey, since I saw you last when I was 8,
Yeah.
So
They came out of the woodwork.
yeah,
I heard from people I didn't even know that were Charles's friends. And they can find you through Facebook or whatever, and they did. And I got several calls, and I knew Charles and back when, and this and that, and in college, whatever. But,
I did. Yeah, when he was in college at McNeese, our university in Lake Charles, he was in Kappa Sigma, and I don't know. All I knew is they were always partying. So, and he had he had a lot of friends there too. It was.
I went to a few of those parties.
And
I was still in high school, but
so he's very likable and charming.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And we hear the adjective is chivalrous and the term gentleman. And even this witness Nancy Jo Hancock saying that he didn't have bad things to say about Lori. Even then, the night before he was killed, he wanted to make life good for JJ. I think that was the priority. No matter what was going on between him and Lori, he wanted to make sure JJ was in good hands. Now you got the D-backs baseball shirt on right now. So like you've got the baseball love and experience, and you just talked about playing with Charles. Everyone that we've talked to about this case, and I think people will wonder, hey, this guy was a fit man, played baseball, semi-pro baseball, played in college, right? And if Alex Cox is saying that he got hit in the back of the head with the bat by Charles, I mean, I just want your take on that whole scenario.
Alex Cox wouldn't have had a head left if Charles hit him with a bat. That was all the setup. That was phony.
And we've seen the injury. I mean, I
Oh,
think
it
it's
was-
described as a 1-inch cut.
I've seen
in
a
the blood.
close-up picture of it, and it was not. I mean, it barely split the skin.
Well,
I mean,
even
it was
If
ridiculous.
you swing a bat and just tap somebody with it, it's gonna do.
Yeah, this Rawlings bat, this metal bat, it's no joke.
If you swing it hard, it's gonna do a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Knock him out kind of damage.
I have to ask you, Kay, like in the Idaho trial, all the evidence is just flowing out there, like just
There's so
a waterfall.
much. Yeah.
But there's a different approach here, like you said, trying not to open the door to Idaho, right? It's almost like the rules of the game have been changed a little bit and the jury doesn't know anything. Like, how was that different for you as you were being questioned by Trina Kay, and like more challenging?
Yes. Number one, I just had to, don't talk about Idaho. Don't, it was, I really had to think about that a lot. Yesterday, I just stayed focused. Don't talk about Idaho. Don't mention Idaho. Don't, just don't say JJ's dead. Don't say, well, you killed him. I mean, I could have spouted off a lot of stuff, but I just really had to be careful yesterday. And honestly, I was a little surprised that I said what I said, about, well, you didn't tell me. I just kind of
Yeah. And it
bucked
went
up
by
a little
so quick.
bit there. Yeah. I
I
just wish I'd have, I want to do it one more time, and I'll have a lot more snarky stuff to say.
And were you surprised that she only had the 3 questions? I mean,
I
thought she
was.
was going to keep going.
You know what I learned after my testimony? Some friends that were sitting on the front row with me, and they saw when Trina was questioning me, Lori was visibly shaking. She was shaking, trying to get her turn the page on her pad. She was shaking. She was shaking.
What?
Yes, she was afraid, and I'm like, good. That was wonderful to hear that.
You were nervous, but at no point were you going to be intimidated.
No,
by
I was
her.
not intimidated.
I mean, this is
one
someone
bit.
that you were close with.
Yes.
And there's stuff needs to be resolved in your mind.
Yes. There was no intimidation.
Yeah.
I felt zero intimidation. And obviously, she felt intimidation. She was worried. What was I going to say? And I'm glad. She
Wow.
needs to fear me. Because if I just had her for a couple of minutes by myself, she should fear me.
And in this case, it's different because in her first trial, she got to watch her public defenders do their thing and cross-examine, but she's now leading the show here. And so that's why I think everybody was expecting more fireworks and seeing how if this got more emotional or intense between you both, but it was quick, and she had something. She went longer with Adam, and I'm sure you got to see that with Adam Cox, her brother.
Adam did a
What
great
did you
job.
take from that whole testimony?
From Adam?
Yeah,
I know Adam is in a terrible position
Yeah.
with his family, that they would ostracize him and Zach for speaking up about this wrong thing their daughter did and son. And so I appreciate Adam being honest, 100%, totally honest and open, and Adam did the right thing. It's his family that is very questionable.
Well, Rex Connor, the uncle,
I say her immediate family.
Yeah.
I don't mean Rex and.
Oh, yeah, I
and-
know.
Yeah.
Like Rex said that they were really
And
close.
Megan.
Rex
Yeah.
said that Adam and Lori years ago. I mean, these are siblings.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all close.
Yeah.
Just like you guys are close. And then at some point in 2018, the relationship gets strained, and Adam is on the stand saying that once she asked him what he thought about her beliefs and what she was saying about her priesthood and being a celestial being, he had to just say, well, I don't believe you. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to criticize
was
you, but I
crazy.
just and so she took offense, it seems, because he said they just stopped talking. Is that her nature though? Like how she treats people, even loved ones, if you don't agree with her?
I never saw that, but what I did see over the years is it's like when Charles and Lori moved to Hawaii, then the next time we went, her parents were there, and I was like, why? It's like the family just followed her, and I don't know. A lot of kids follow their parents, but it's like they were following her, like the whole family. She was their leader. I don't know. That's what I saw in my perspective. So I don't know.
And I gotta know this. Maybe you guys talked to Charles during this time, because this 2019 timeline from January into July, and your testimony discussed so many details. And you obviously you have like an encyclopedia now from doing these
Right.
2 trials, but like knowing when she was AWOL for 58 days, helping Charles move to Houston, and he's kind of back and forth, right? And then the reconciliation, the divorce that never really processed. But like, did Charles want to get back with Lori and go from being separated to finally living in the same home together? Like, what was going to be the next step if things didn't go the way they did?
Lori would have never have allowed it. All she did when she came to Houston, excuse me, when she went to Houston after being gone 72 days, she went for a money grab. She went to grab money, and that was it. And then she was gone again.
So they were pretty much separated. She did not want to, because the affair was happening.
Yes, the
already.
affair was happening, and I have a bank statement showing where, because I knew when I looked at it, I didn't know what happened, but the weekend Chad Daybell was in Houston, and Lori was in Houston. There was a restaurant charge for, I don't know, $90 or something like that, and a hotel room charge, and I just knew that wasn't Charles and Lori. I knew it wasn't, and I don't know why I knew. I just did. And then as things have rolled out, that's exactly what it was. It was Lori and Chad. And I mean, Charles knew about Chad then.
Really? I was trying to figure out when he really finally knew that she was cheating. And I know that the whole letter thing came out in June of telling Chad to come and write a book for him.
That was one of the things he and I talked about after I got there, when he and Lori, did this, when Lori didn't come home. And that was just early February 2019. And, one day we're talking, and he said, hey, she's sending videos to this guy. And I was like, what do you mean videos? And dance, she would get in her big room and dance. It was lined with mirrors, and she would record it and send it to this guy, Chad Daybell. And I was like, well, Charles, okay. You need to understand. I didn't see the videos.
He described the video.
Yes.
Okay.
And I was like, Charles, okay, she's either about to have an affair or she's in the middle of one right now, because you don't send stuff like that. That's totally inappropriate as a married, as a married person. And no, he just didn't want to see it. He did not want to see it. It hurt him. It hurt his heart. And, oh, well, maybe not, So he was still, I guess he was still kind of doing like what I did when we couldn't find JJ. I wouldn't accept the fact that he might be dead. Even when a detective told me in December they don't think the kids are alive, and I was like,
wow,
I won't believe it. I'm not
December
believing
2019.
It. Yes.
Detectives were already thinking the worst.
Yes.
And that had crossed your mind, even though it was a missing persons report at the time. But did it cross your mind?
It never crossed my mind.
Okay.
The worst thing I felt Lori could ever do to me, because she wouldn't hurt him. I just that was not even in my mind. But to me, the worst thing she could do to punish me would be to, since she was a single parent, she could have given JJ up to someone and then never told me where he was. She could have kept me guessing for years, for the rest of my life, and I would never have known. To me, that was the most cruel thing she could do. But boy, was I wrong. Very wrong.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's basically leaving you without answers for so long. And you're just going out of your mind.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure he's okay.
Yeah.
And then that percentage of thinking he's okay is just going down. every day.
Yeah.
And then you obviously see her in Hawaii. You see the video.
That was just mind blowing. It really was.
That was January.
That was it January
2020,
or February?
end of January 2020, where the video came out.
That's right.
Is that when you were like, okay, there's danger now because I don't see JJ on the screen or anywhere?
No, I knew there was danger when Brandon got shot at.
Okay.
Then when
October
Alex
2019.
died naturally, I'll never believe that as long as I live. When Alex died, I'm like, holy cow, this is just it got more and more ominous, but I still kept, no, he's okay, they're okay. Then, I mean, it wasn't until the end of November we knew that Tylee hadn't been seen. So,
You had all these people that are really unaccounted for.
yeah.
And then Tammy Daybell's body's exhumed the day
Yes.
before Alex died in December 2019. What's it like for you when you guys are hearing all this from her and she's reporting all this information back to you in this time frame?
It's hard to hear. I mean, but Kay kept on top of things. I was always working,
Yeah.
so I couldn't really track it. But when Nate Eaton went to Hawaii
Mm-hmm.
and saw Lori and Chad, where's the kids? Where's the kids?
Mhm.
And she nonchalantly, okay, whatever. And
Yeah.
that's when I kind of knew either she's hiding them in some cave somewhere or they're dead.
Wow.
And I suspected the latter. And it wasn't too long before we found out that they were.
That was in February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, it was 4 months after that.
Yes. But to see what she did to my baby sister really is beyond anything I've ever known.
Mm-hmm.
Because to look at her and see what she has gone through in the last 5-6 years, it's hard to look at. I mean,
Thanks.
it's just
It's almost
no,
like,
it hurts my
yeah.
heart
I
when see
know.
it,
I was
you
just
know?
messing with you.
It's just Lord. I mean, him and JJ were at my house like 3-4 weeks before he was murdered.
Mm.
And JJ's in the my wife's china cabinet rearranging everything 'cause he's a hyper kid. And she was in there with him. Me and Charles were talking, and he said, "Gerry, we're getting a divorce." And I said, "Well, I'm sorry, Charles. I really am." But we didn't go into detail. I didn't know all the stuff behind it, what was going on, because we, I guess the ego thing between brothers or something. I don't know. He just
You weren't
didn't
going to
wanna-
pry either.
I didn't want to pry.
How could you
You're right.
prepare for what he was telling the police back in January 2019 about being called the dark spirit and being threatened? I think that's at the time, and he confided in you early, but was he embarrassed about it, trying to figure out why this was happening, and how serious was Charles taking it? I mean, we know that he called the police because he was locked out of the house, but I mean, being called a dark spirit, you don't think that someone might take this literally and murder you or do any harm to you or your loved ones?
Justin, I gave you the that email that Chad had sent Lori in January of 2019, where he labeled dark and light, and
Numbers.
there were all those attachments to it about I don't even know, but all that I didn't understand it. I totally didn't understand it, so I didn't talk about it. And I know you asked me a few times, can I release this? And I was like, no, I didn't know. I didn't understand what all it was.
Yeah, trying to grasp it. I think that was my challenge too, is how do I explain this and report this and lay down the facts of the correspondence and prove the correspondence between Chad and Lori via email, verifying the emails. Anybody could come up with a Word document, but obviously now it's all been proven that this was going on. This information was not just being exchanged on the internet, but in text messages and in these group meetings, and they're talking about death percentages. I mean, this is all now on the record through the Idaho case. But getting back to Arizona, I mean, we've got 12 witnesses that have your witness number 12. There's supposed to be 21. I mean, what do you expect to come in this next week or so?
I have no idea. Just I'm there for whatever happens. I gave up trying to guess the next thing. in any of this. So I'm just there for whatever happens.
5 civilian witnesses have gone, obviously including yourself. But in the Idaho trial, we did get a roadmap of, there's just so many text messages that are probably going to come out via Chandler PD
Yeah.
between Lori and Alex and Lori and Chad, and kind of Charles's concerns are being verbalized through text and emails. Have you guys been able to look at the jury and their reaction?
I'm not good at reading people like that. I did notice, excuse me, can y'all kill my mic for a second?
No, it's
Sorry.
okay. Go. Well, I would ask Gerry.
To me,
I
the
can't clear
jury
my throat.
is very hard to read. They're kind of stoic, if you will.
Yeah.
They are stoic, yes.
And I sit on the front row, but when sometimes I would lean over the rail, just looking intently at what's going on in the court, and a couple times they would look at me, and I didn't know if they knew who I was or not.
They
I really
don't. They don't.
But they're hard to read. There's all men except for 2 women, I believe.
Okay, so 12 men and 2 women. Yeah, because we lost 2
Oh, yeah,
jurors.
we did.
Yeah.
Those 2.
That was interesting.
They're a different group, but they're hard to read. They don't. I
They're-
haven't seen any of them, go.
Have a big reaction.
Yeah.
And there's not taking notes. There's only probably, I think I counted 5 people the other day, either 4 or 5, that had a notepad with them. And in retrospect, in Idaho, both trials, each juror had a notebook, and
Wow.
then some people went into a second notebook. I mean, it
Dozens
was-
of witnesses they
Oh,
had
yeah,
to
yeah. Oh,
listen
yeah.
to.
But what's different is they can write a note to ask a question
Yeah.
to the judge. I've never seen that.
Yeah, very unique to Arizona. I'm not sure. I think there may be another state but yes, that was interesting to see that we've seen a few juror questions to get things clarified by the witness. So, yeah, this is just how do you think the rest of your family is doing? Just seeing this, it's been a long time. That leads me to this: when you have family gatherings, like, is this not talked about? Is it just kind of in everyone's back of the head that you know what you've been through?
We talk about
We
it.
talk about it.
Yeah.
It's not a big secret or anything. It's just, it's a whole different level of a conversation
Yeah.
at a family crawfish boil or whatever,
Yeah. You just face it. It is what it
It
is.
is
now.
what it is.
It's part of your family's history now.
Yeah.
With the jury, do you think that Lori thinks that she has an advantage with the jury being mainly men?
I imagine she thinks she does, but she doesn't. 10 years ago, maybe she would have been able to sway 1 or 2, but she's aged just like I've aged a lot. I've aged a lot in these last few years, and so has she. So she's past her peak, and I don't think her looks are going to get her anywhere like she thinks they will.
Do you feel like you just don't know her anymore, like that
I
person
don't
that's
know
sitting
who,
there?
I have no idea who the hell she is. She's a total stranger.
She's a translated being
Well, yeah.
and a deity.
When you were close to her and she had said, like, "I love you, KK,"
Mm-hmm. With
was that
tears.
was that a genuine?
With tears
What?
rolling down her face.
Yeah,
And I was like, I'm just so sorry, Lori. I hate
you
this
were in a
is
tough
happening.
spot.
Yeah. But, I mean, I was mad at her, number one, for saying that she didn't want JJ anymore. I initially thought that she said that to just to make Charles mad. But she truly didn't.
Yeah.
And she didn't want Charles, and she didn't want Tylee. She told Charles that's all things that I learned from him. And I was like, well, maybe she's having an extreme midlife crisis. I don't know. Maybe she's got menopause gone wrong. I don't know. But it was just not the person I knew. However, throughout all of this, I've learned, I think Charles had blinders on and he just did not want to see that side of her that was the manipulative, greedy, selfish person that she truly is.
When people ask the question, the age-old question, like, are you a lover or a fighter? So Charles, I assume you guys will say he's a lover,
Oh yeah.
even though he looks like this tough guy, right? Like, but he's
Yeah.
sensitive.
He was a
Would you?
softie.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know, because
Yeah.
I know the quote that he had given even to his former lawyer is "Love always wins." He didn't go through with the divorce.
Yeah.
So is that his attitude? It's just, love will conquer all.
Yeah.
Do you wish that he would have, you say, had the blinders on, but just taken off those blinders and snapped out of it?
I tried, believe me. I tried. Just, Charles, stop. Listen, look at things for the reality is right there. You need to open your eyes and quit seeing her the way you see her, because that's not who she is. And oh yeah, I tried.
He loved her. He was blind.
Yeah.
He loved her, and she killed him.
And this is, his, I don't know which number of his relationship or marriage exactly, but obviously he probably had multiple relationships in the past, but you're saying this was the woman that he truly was in love with out of everyone that he had been with.
I
You could
believe
tell.
that, absolutely.
I know who he should have married, but
That's another
Yeah.
conversation.
That's
nother
another
story.
conversation.
But is also the sad part, is because you know how much that Charles cared about her, and you're seeing him plead for help on body camera video and
Right.
reaching out to family members, all to walk into the home on July 11, 2019 to be
Yeah.
shot down. And you guys here now, I mean, how has this brought you all closer as siblings, this whole ordeal?
we hang out a lot more,
Yeah.
We do, and it's more of a deeper relationship,
We call each other more.
Call each other
And
more?
we're older now, so we're not all raising kids, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
The running around, the busyness you are with your children when you're raising them, and so now we're just older, and we just can take more time and talk to each other and visit, and
And
drive to
now I'm the-
Houston and spend the night with he and Melanie, and just to get away for a night, and
Forget Lucy.
and Lucy.
Now I'm the big brother, so
Yeah.
I kind of,
Yeah.
got to watch out for him.
And you guys can enjoy the simple things, because life is short, and you guys
It
have
is.
each other to appreciate.
Yep.
So, thank you all for just spending all this time with me to talk about your brother, getting justice for him, and just everything that you've been through. I really appreciate it. So,
Well, Justin, we
Yes.
appreciate all the hard work you
You
have
have
done
done.
in
Thank
this
you.
case. You really have worked hard, and we know that, and it is greatly appreciated. And hello, Phoenix. I love you. It's a good town, and I'm going to a ball game tonight, so
and you like the heat. You don't
Buy
mind
him a
it.
beer. He'd love a beer.
Oh, you're fine, Susan. It's good to just have you here and also
Yeah.
share in this. So, I appreciate you guys. And I will always remember that first FaceTime interview with Kay and Larry trying to
He
figure
had to
out.
walk us through every single. We're like, what? Wait, what?
Yeah, and now
Yeah.
you guys have just been so graceful with the media, and I think it's important to recognize that, because a lot of the time for us journalists, we need the people who are affected to come forward and speak their truth. And if you're not willing to, I mean, we can only help so much. So I think
Right.
from day one, Kay and Larry were adamant that they had to come out there and speak
Yeah.
about this, no matter how crazy it sounded at the time. So that deserves a lot of credit.
and in Idaho, I was afraid of the media, and
Yeah.
when you talked to me, I was just like, heck no, I'm not not doing
Jerry,
that. Plus, I was
yeah.
sick as hell, and
Yeah.
I didn't feel good. And
It's all good.
He's not a big talker anyway. He's pretty quiet. So Yeah.
Well, that's why we have Larry Woodcock when he's available.
Exactly.
But
you're
now
lucky my little brother isn't here. He never shuts up, Bobby.
Yeah.
but it's good to finally have you on and you know to open up about all this. So appreciate you guys again. Those of you watching, back to trial Monday morning at 10 a.m. The murder conspiracy case against Lori Vallow Daybell. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time on The Record.